Speed kills. It's as simple as that. For defensive purposes, quick movement speed is crucial. It doesn't matter how much strength your opponent has or how hard they hit. If they can't touch you, then it's all for naught. And offensively, your attack speed can be the deciding factor between finishing your opponent or not. When met with a super strong punch or kick, as long as they can anticipate the blow, they can brace themselves and hopefully withstand it. But it's the strike that they don't see coming that knocks them out. If you can hit your opponent before they even have time to react, then you can easily separate them from their consciousness. Every martial artist should make it a priority to improve their speed, and perhaps one day, they can be as fast as lightning. What's up Bakas, it's your boy Natty Light, and welcome back to another part of my Kengan Ashura series. Today, I'll be going over the lightning god, Mikazuchi Rei. I'll be going over his backstory, his appearance, personality, and of course, his fighting style. But before we get into any of that, I'm going to warn you guys that there are going to be major spoilers regarding the Kengan Ashura manga. I'm going to be explaining as much about Rei as possible, which means that I'll be talking about crucial plot points regarding the story. Now that you've been warned, let's jump right into the video. Mikazuchi Rei stands at 5'9" and weighs in at 170 pounds. He's a lean individual with black spiky hair. In his initial design, the author drew him very young but thought he'd look like a pampered child. He then attempted to draw Rei with light hair but opted to go with a darker look. He is often seen walking around with a disinterested look on his face. When in combat, he dons nothing but a sleeveless white gi top and black pants. Rei was originally a very stern and morbid individual. Growing up in the assassin trade, he had a very warped image of human life. He thought people were nothing but walking sacks of meat waiting to die. Killing to him was ordinary. It was like eating, sleeping, or breathing. But after falling in love with Reno, Rei underwent a drastic change. He now seems less mechanical and more personable. He enjoys playing card games and watching movies with his love. His adoration for Reno is in fact his most defining character trait. He makes it a point to finish his fights as quickly as possible so that he can return to Reno's arms. And he also gets really jealous when Reno gives others attention, as seen when she treated Rihito. However, his love for Reno is a complete contradiction to his claim to be one with everything. Although his fighting style requires him to be free, he realizes that he's a man bounded by love, pride, and desire. Rei is also a man full of conviction. Once he sets his mind onto something, he will fight tooth and nail in order to achieve it. After meeting with Reno, he has tried his best to uphold his promise not to kill. And then after realizing he was not strong enough to achieve his goal, he sought to go as far as to separate himself from his love in order to surpass his limits. Said to be created by the god of thunder, Taka Mikazuchi, the Raishin style is an assassination art that can be traced back 1200 years. It has a powerful lineage that rivals that of even the Curry clan. Throughout history, it has only made a public appearance twice. Once against the Mongols at the Battle of Hakata Bay, and another time at the 4th Battle of Kawana Kajima. But the Raishin style still lives strongly to this day through the Mikazuchi clan. The modern era successor was Mikazuchi Boyo until his grandson Rei successfully inherited the art. Rei was only able to become the successor after enduring a grueling, torturous trial that spanned nearly 2 weeks. The trial began with him abstaining himself from eating, sleeping, and drinking for 9 days straight. He then immediately had to go up the mountains, where he stood in a meditative state for an extra 2 days without moving a single muscle. But even though his body was pushed to its absolute brink, his mind was sharper than ever. By letting his body and ego go, Rei was unshackling the chains that bounded him. He was connected to everything, and everything became connected to him. He had finally achieved a perfect state of oneness. Then after successfully countering his grandfather's surprise attack, Rei became the rightful heir to the Raishin style. From then on, it was his choice as a Raishin style master to choose what to do with the art. Sometime later, Rei was sent to assassinate Kuroyoshi Reno, the CEO of the Gold Pleasure Group. He thought it was going to be just another job, but as he broke into Reno's room and laid eyes on her, he immediately fell in love. Fast forward 6 months, and Rei's personality had done a complete 180. As noted by Reno's assistant, Rei became a lot more human after falling in love. It was then that Rei decided to end the Raishin style way of assassination and vowed to create a new Raishin style that involved non-killing. He did so because he realized that he could never be with Reno while living in the darkest parts of the underworld as an assassin. He also promised to become Gold Pleasure's Kengan representative and to take Reno all the way to the top. Rei made his debut in chapter 23.5 of the Kengan Ashura manga. A month before the Kengan Annihilation tournament began, the Gold Pleasure Group and Iwama Heavy Industries had the scheduled Kengan match between the representatives. Originally, the main fighter for the Gold Pleasure Group was a man named Mori Masashi. He amassed a record of 14-0 before being defeated by Rei and forfeiting his position. On the other hand, Iwama Heavy Industries had hired Hong Xiaohu, the man-eating tiger of Sichuan, as their representative. He was a powerful fighter with a record of 35-1, with his sole loss being to the Fang of Misudo. The fight began with Rei blissing towards his opponent. The Chinese fighter noted how impressive it was for Rei to be able to keep up with his speed. However, Rei revealed that he was holding back his true capabilities. Once he had gotten a little bit serious, Rei easily ripped off Hong's fingernails in a split second. But instead of cowering in fear, Hong told Rei that his greatest attribute was the fact that he didn't feel any pain. He had a special ability that allowed him to control the secretion of opioids in his brain, which effectively negated his sense of pain. Rei easily countered the strength by breaking both of Hong's knees and rendering him incapable of moving. The fight ended with Hong being unable to accept his defeat until Reno somehow turned back on his ability to feel pain. When asked how his debut match went, Rei answered by saying that it was a letdown and that he hoped the main competition will be better. Rei later makes an appearance on the SS Kengan. While Reno was negotiating a ceasefire with the Koyo Academy and Nogi group, Rei was secretly listening in on the whole conversation only a couple feet away without anyone noticing his presence. Even an elite fighter like Hatsumi-sen was shocked when he realized that Rei had been sitting there the whole time, knowing that he couldn't sense him at all. Then later on, when Reno was attacked by an assassin sent by Jaime Kasamasa, Rei easily defeated the assailant in 22 seconds. The day before the tournament began, Rei was approached by Kurei Hollis, the older nephew of the Kurei clan. Hollis was surprised to see Rei participating in this tournament, as masters of the Raishin style usually do not involve themselves in political strife. He was then severely disappointed when he found out that Rei gave up his creed for a girl. While watching the fights before his own, Rei showed that he was talented in analyzing fights and the combatants. Examples would be when he said that Cosmo made the correct choice by dismounting Adam, and when he noted how strong Okoye was. Rei had his first bout in the 10th match of the first round. His opponent was Nezu Masami, the reigning champion of the third largest underground fighting organization. Without waiting for his introduction, Rei made his appearance on stage so they can get the fight over with and go back to Reno. The fight begins and ends with one lightning fast dash by Rei. The lightning god knocked out Nezu with one swift punch to the jaw, setting the record for the fastest Kengan match. While resting with Reno after the match, Rei was confronted by a very hostile Kurei Ryan. Ryan called Rei pathetic and egged him into a fight. Rei apologized to Reno, saying that in order to beat Ryan, he would have to kill him. Their brief fight was interrupted by the appearance of the other Kurei clan members who were able to convince Ryan to back off. During the second round, Rei was matched up against the loud and passionate Cao Peng. Their fight began like all of Rei's previous matches with a lightning fast dash attack. However, Cao Peng easily ate Rei's first shot. Rei then followed up his first shot with an illusionary technique and a second dash attack to the back. However, Cao Peng easily endured that as well. It's revealed that unfortunately for Rei, he had been paired up with his worst possible matchup. The Lithwei fighter was known for his indestructible skeleton, which was able to deflect any blow. This combined with the fact that the Raishin style lacked any finishing moves without weapons made it an incredibly hard matchup for Rei. But still, Rei continued to attack. He landed dash after dash until he finally made Cao Peng dodge. But after stepping in too deep, Rei was almost matched by Cao Peng's legendary headbutt. It turned out that the Lithwei fighter was trying to bait in Rei this whole time. After this, Rei decided to unleash his arsenal of assassination techniques that only required one's bare hands. He asked Cao Peng not to die on him, as that would break his promise with Reno. Then after landing more blows onto Cao Peng, it was Rei's turn to bait his opponent. He tricked the Lithwei fighter into using another headbutt so that he could reverse the impact into his jaw. From that point on, Rei unleashed an array of techniques that continuously shook Cao Peng's brain, which eventually led to his downfall. The fight ended with Rei staying one step ahead of his opponent and landing a second strike to the jaw. After the fight, Rei was visibly upset that an opponent was able to last so long against his Raishin style. He admitted that he was a little too confident and that he would need to do a complete overhaul of his system. While preparing for his third fight, Rei was found performing a kata in his locker room. He told Reno that he needed to clear his mind and that performing this kata would help him relax. Worried that Rei might not have been in his best state, Reno prepared 3 backup fighters. However, these fighters were quickly assassinated by a wandering Setsuna. Rei enters his 3rd bout against the almighty Devil Lance, Kuriki Gensai. At first, he was still worried about leaving Reno's side, but realized that he must quickly focus if he wanted to defeat Kuriki. Before the fight began, it's revealed that Kuriki had actually killed Rei's father, the former master of the Raishin style. However, Rei said that he wasn't looking for revenge and that he didn't want to kill. He wanted to win this fight to prove that his non-killing Raishin style worked. Once again, the fight began with a dash by Rei, but this one was slightly different. It was by far the fastest Rei had been the entire tournament, which caught Kuriki by surprise. Rei had become the first person in the tournament to bring Kuriki to his knees. He was able to become this fast thanks to Reno's help before the match. This boost in speed and power allowed him to land multiple strikes against Kuriki and even break his opponent's fingers. But as Rei was reaching the limits of his powers, he saw that Kuriki was an impregnable fortress. Then in a dash which no other fighter could see, he got brutally countered by an elbow. It turned out that Kuriki had reached the pinnacle of foresight and that he did not need to see his opponent's movements. He simply had to place his fist where his opponent was going to be. As Rei breathed in deeper and attacked even faster, he was met with an even stronger recoil. But even with broken ribs, an injured foot, and an empty gas tank, Rei would not give up. As he threw his all into every blow, he began to chain his attacks together. Then when he attempted to land a fatal strike, he was countered once again by Kuriki. This time, the beer god threw a strike to the heart, effectively knocking Rei out before he could even feel pain. When Rei regained his consciousness, he was met with feelings of frustration and distress. He realized that his strength was nowhere near where it needed to be in order to keep his promise to Reno. He also knew that at this rate, he would never be able to defeat Kuriki Gensai. Despite Reno's words of encouragement, the CEO knew that their parting was near. Rei spends the rest of the tournament spectating the other matches. He is last seen in the Kengan Ashura manga as he witnessed Kuriki Gensai become the new Kengan champion. Rei has also made an appearance in the sequel, Kengan Omega. Despite Yamashita's request to recruit Rei against Purgatory, Reno refused to use him as a political tool again. Now onto his powers and abilities. Being the master of the Raishin style means that Rei is by far the fastest combatant in the whole Kengan tournament. The Mikazuchi clan's mantra is not to be as fast as lightning, but to become lightning itself. The Raishin style speed can be attributed to 2 factors. One would be the auto-suggestion that the users place on themselves. After overcoming a grueling trial, the Mikazuchi clan believed that the lightning god himself would dwell within their bodies. This self-belief removes the limiter on their brain in a similar fashion to the Curry clan and allows them to reach incredible speeds. The second reason is that since birth, their legs have been conditioned for running. Their bones are molded and shaped in a way suitable for quick dashes and attacks. This blinding speed is a basis for Rei's most used technique, the lightning dash. A simple but effective move, the lightning dash allows Rei to strike his opponent before they even have time to react. He uses this technique in tandem with the Raishin style's dream walking. This is a foot technique that involves moving at an ever-changing tempo, thus creating the illusion of after images. After confusing his opponent with dream walking, Rei would proceed to attack them with a lightning dash. However, the lightning dash itself does have a large flaw. Since the user is moving at such a fast pace, they are only able to dash in a straight line. This means that an opponent who either has fast enough reflexes or a Masters of Foresight can theoretically counter the move. And since the user is moving so fast, the damage from the counter is amplified tremendously. Another weakness that the classical Raishin style had was his lack of non-killing techniques. However, under Rei's new style, he now has access to an array of moves that allows him to defeat his opponent without killing. One example would be his Sunfire technique. The Sunfire technique is actually a combination of smaller blows which when landed consecutively allows the damage to penetrate deeper and deeper. Another example would be the Raishin style's Thunderclap technique. Again, this is a combination of blows that involves changing the shape of Rei's fist, which can result in the shaking of his opponent's brain. It's also worth noting that the Raishin style also takes elements from traditional Chinese martial arts. They have a kata that they call chi molding, which allows them to balance out their chi and make it flow smoother. The style also has a move known as a Fa Jin armor-piercing pure mating force, which takes after the Chinese concept of discharging explosive force. Also, Rei is able to far surpass his physical limits by combining his own auto-suggestion with Reno's. When given the order to win by Reno, Rei's brain is tricked into doing whatever it takes to succeed. In this boosted state, his speed reaches a point where he seems like he vanishes into thin air. He is by far the fastest combatant, and the other fighters have trouble keeping up with his movements. However, the state requires a lot of stamina and can only be used once. Alright guys, so that was my video on the lightning god, Mikazuchi Rei. Despite being called a simp by most of the fandom, I for one am a big fan of Rei. I think he's immensely powerful and I like his character design. Let me know down in the comments who you guys would like to see me do next. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.